Big Sur is a rugged stretch of California's central coast between Carmel and San Simeon. In Big Sur you will find Fernwood Campground. It is a great getaway spot for people looking to get in some vacation camping or just do some random day hiking. Fernwood is also known for something else, something that comes out after the sun goes down. In his 2002 book, Haunted Places, the National Directory, Ghostly Abodes, Sacred Sites, UFO Landings, and Other Supernatural Locations, Dennis William Hawk spoke of how Fernwood Campground in Big Sur is said to be haunted by a strange entity wearing a corn mask. According to the site Backpackverse, the sightings began when a camper at Fernwood complained to the management that a man had been walking around in the middle of the night. The camper indicated that the man had crept right up to his tent and just stood there watching, waiting. Slowed awake, the camper realized what was happening and sprung out of bed to confront the figure, which quickly walked off into the darkness. Looking outside his tent, he saw off in the distance a figure with a misshapen head retreating into the forest. The next morning, 4 more campers came forward complaining that a man had walked right up to their tents and simply stood there. When they asked him to leave or what was he doing, he did not respond. A few campers had gone out to confront him only to see him turn and walk away. To those who observed him, he seemed to move fast enough that had they tried to chase him in the dark, they would have not been able to catch him. One of the strangest aspects of the sighting was that despite the campers being in separate locations in the area, they all claimed to have seen him between 2 and 3 in the morning. The manager agreed to investigate, if only to assure the campers that there was nothing to worry about. Strangely, the next morning, the manager returned to the office and promptly quit. He left a note to his fellow employees indicating that he had encountered the corn mask wearing entity and that it had told him that Fernwood needed to be closed down. While the details of his sighting are unknown, it was apparently so traumatizing that sometime after quitting he picked up and moved to Florida. Those who encounter the strange entity claim that he's very tall and wears the traditional garb of the Esselen Indian tribe, including a huge round mask made of corn. This odd mask, with its bulging angular design, creates the impression that the figure has an odd, oversized head. No doubt it makes for a startling sight when reflected in shadow of the moon against the tent or off in the distance in the woods. The Esselen tribe is indigenous to the Big Sur region. They were one of the smallest tribes in California. Arriving Spanish missionaries were said to have decimated their numbers as they had very little power in the region. Esselen children were removed from their families to work labor in the mission communities. Adults became slaves, forced to tend to the land and construct settlements for the Spanish. Due to starvation, disease, and sometimes outright torture at the hands of the colonists, the Esselen people began to die off. For a time, it was thought that they had become extinct. The few survivors of the tribe scattered only to resurface in the 1800s in the Monterey area, where they still live today. Although their numbers have diminished greatly, they still carry on many traditions, including one unusual one, their ritual corn mask. Worn by shamans and warriors during rituals, it was thought that the mask would bring the wearer closer to the earth, allowing their spirit to become one with the land. Is the corn mask wearing Indian man sighted at Camp Fernwood one of these shamans or warriors come back in ghostly form? Has he come back to terrify unsuspecting campers as revenge for what was done to him and his people? Or is it all just a strange legend built up over time to spook the kiddies around the campfire? In their article, Backpackverse seems to indicate that many locals in the area accept it as fact. However, I have not been able to track down any specifics regarding said sightings. To date, I have not been able to track down a single dated report in which a witness claims to have observed this entity, leading me to wonder if the corn mask wearing man is nothing more than a scary story, although I'd love to be proven wrong. If you've seen the corn mask wearing man at Fernwood Camp or know somebody who has, please let me know in the comments.